Greetings and welcome to the We Are PPS podcast, where we sit down with the staff, students, and community partners working to make Pittsburgh Public Schools one of America's premier school districts, student-focused, well-managed, and innovative. I'm your host, Ebony Pugh, and I have the pleasure of sitting down today to speak with Lingaire Nijie, who is the district's manager of out-of-school time. Hey, Lingaire.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
You're welcome.
Could you tell us a little bit about, what is out-of-school time and what do you do as the out-of-school time manager?
Sure. So out-of-school time, first of all, a lot of times people think that means strictly after school. But out-of-school time actually means programming that takes place outside of school hours and during school hours. So that could be before, after school, but a lot of our out-of-school time partners provide programming during the school day. So it is kind of extra programming to help, enhance the capacity of what's happening during the school day.
So I get that. So that's why instead of using the term after school, you say out of school time.
Yes.
So it's just when you're not in classroom in front of a teacher, but it's something that could be happening even during the school day.
Absolutely. And some of our out-of-school time partners actually collaborate with teachers in classrooms. And so there are a variety of ways that an out-of-school time partner can engage with the school community.
Oh, and then what do you do as the manager for out-of-school time?
So I manage the process of community-based organizations coming into the district to provide programming. And so that is a very detailed process. We want to make sure that we have provided access for community-based organizations to provide programming, but in a structured way, so that we as a district understand who is operating in our schools and which students are taking advantage of the valuable programming that OST providers bring. And so that process entails an application process. Every year, even if you were a partner last year, you still have to reapply to become a partner again. So we have a good understanding of what's happening in our schools year to year. We manage the process of people or organizations providing clearances. That's very important. We know to be operating in schools, you have to have your necessary clearances. So we manage that process, liability insurance, things like that. And we also manage our student rosters through a platform called CitySpan. CitySpan allows us to understand which organizations are serving which students, and also get an understanding of who their staff is, so that there's a structured way that they are engaging with our district. Once an organization applies for partnership, we have a review team that looks over the applications, and we pass along applications that we feel should go forward for partnership. We pass them along to our board for final approval.
Okay, so there's a pretty good vetting process of the partners who are in the school working with kids.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure that makes a lot of people, feel confident about the services their students are receiving in school.
Yes, hopefully so.
Yes.
Hopefully so. And then also another important aspect of the out-of-school time office is that we are the district representative for community-based organizations. We know that we have a big school district. Oftentimes it can be a little daunting trying to figure out who you're supposed to be communicating with. And so we are that primary contact for community-based organizations.
So, and how many organizations are approved currently to provide services?
So as of today, there are 139 approved partner agencies that are out-of-school time providers. That number will go up as the school year proceeds. We give community-based organizations an opportunity 4 times each school year to apply or reapply. And so at this point, for the beginning of the school year, we're already at 139. And so I'm excited to see what that number will end up at the end of the school year.
And does every school have some sort of out-of-school time opportunities?
Yes, most schools, I would say, do have out-of-school time partners. Again, it might not be an after-school program, but many partner organizations are working in schools at some point during the school day.
Yeah, I know for a fact. I remember with my own son, when he was small, he had an Oasis mentor during the day, and it was really important to him. He really valued sitting down with his Oasis mentor and reading books. So I know that there's things that happen during the day that are just as important to student development.
Yes, definitely.
How can parents find out which out-of-school time partners are district approved?
Sure. So we are, if you go to the main Pittsburgh Public Schools webpage, pghschools.org, and you do a /OST, that will take you to the out of school time page where you can see all of our approved partners. And you can also look them up by category.
Yeah, okay. That's good. So again, you can go right to our website, families, to see what's available.
Yes.
So as a part of ESSER, which is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, school districts across the country received additional funding and to respond to make up the learning loss that happened during the pandemic.
Yes.
And as part of the district's funding, there was funding set aside for the comprehensive after-school programming. What type of programming is the district seeking to support with its ESSER funds?
Yes, so for the after-school ESSER funding, we are seeking to implement evidence-based programming that will assist in combating the learning loss that did occur for some students, many students, during COVID-19. And so organizations, community-based organizations, have the opportunity to apply for that funding to implement programming in schools, again, evidence-based programming that is aimed to try to mitigate that learning loss.
And so how are the partners going to be selected for use of those funds?
Sure. So Monte Robinson Robinson is the coordinator for community schools in our district. We developed a request for proposals process that allowed community-based organizations to apply for the funding. And so we created an RFP application, what we're calling an RFP application, where organizations could apply for funding by giving a very detailed description of their programming, submitting a budget, how much will this cost per student to implement your program, and they were able to indicate on their application which schools they are interested in partnering with, so which schools they want to bring their programs to. We heard very early on from principals that they wanted to be responsible for which programs came into their schools. And so although Monte and I are managing the process of getting the RFP to organizations, once community-based organizations submit their proposal, it then goes to the principals that they indicated they are interested in working with. And so principals with a review team at their own school, they're able to go through these proposals and determine which organizations they would like to contract with using this RFP, this ESSER after-school money.
Okay, so wow, that's a great opportunity to get even additional support to students. So thank you for everything you're doing. Part of We Are PPS is about making sure, letting our community and stakeholders know who's behind the scene doing really important work in the school district, but also we want them to know a little bit about each of those individuals. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey in Pittsburgh Public Schools, what led you to this role here?
Sure. So I'm a very proud product of Pittsburgh Public Schools. I started first grade at Liberty.
Okay.
I went to Frick, and I'm an extremely proud graduate of Shenley High School, class of '96. So
Shenley has a lot of proud graduates. Everybody loves that.
You cannot beat our school spirit. You just cannot. And so I've been affiliated in some way with Pittsburgh Public Schools for a very long time. I was away from Pittsburgh for about 17 years. I came back and I started working in the superintendent's office with parent and family community engagement. I then moved on to Pittsburgh Langley in Sheridan. I love Pittsburgh Langley. I was the first community school site manager at Pittsburgh Langley shortly after our board adopted a community school policy for our district. I initiated the community school strategy at Pittsburgh Langley. I was there for 5 years until I came here back to central office as manager of out of school time. And I have to say, I took the reins from someone who was incomparable, Mr. Tyler Hart. And so, he did a lot of amazing foundation work for the out of school time office. So I'm just trying to continue what he's already built.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you had such a story that began in PPS and that you're back here. And we're glad you're back here. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Well, this concludes this episode of We Are PPS. Join us next time when we sit down with Ebony Latham from our magnet office to talk us through navigating the magnet process. We look forward to speaking to you guys then. Thanks, everyone.